All right. Well, what is this talk about? Well, first I'll start with something about me. I'm a software engineer, and I've been in the town for like I don't know plus 15 years, and it's been dragging for a bit last time because I've been on a sabbatical which is taking. It actually started my 8th month this month. So if you're hiring, I'm open to work. If anyone, whatever. But I'm not. I'm like I'm not looking for work. I'm like very passive in it. So just want to say I'm picky. But but I'm not a AI researcher. So this topic is very much outside of my comfort zone. So I just want to ask you to bear with me. And when it comes to understanding GPT, it's my understanding. Although I'm full of some of you know me and you know that I'm full of opinions, strong opinions, but I want to say they are weakly held, right? So we'll ditch them tomorrow. But the other thing I want to say is when I was preparing this talk, I made sure to kind of like double check the things I want to share with you today. So there's actually a couple of other talks that will be that go much deeper into the things I want to talk about. So anyway, here's the agenda that what I want to talk about. First, we'll look at some understanding of the GPT. That's the part that I really don't understand. And then we'll look at some AI tools that I use or that I find interesting, and you might too. So let's dive right into it. So what is GPT not? Well, it's not a green power technology or whatever. So I forgot to say that there are some jokes in the slides, but they are either made by me or GPT. So I'll leave the judgment to you. Anyway, so what else is GPT not? Well, green peppermint is whatever. But my point is it's not a database, and many people that I come to, and whenever we talk about this stuff, I see that they are using it as a database. It's not a database. Obviously, it's cut in 2021 so far. They'll change that, they'll fix that, and they'll fix it so it won't be that behind. But still, it's not a database. So, but still people use it, in that sense. So I just want to talk about what GPT is and how we should use it, and how to also get the best out of it eventually. So it's a generative pre-trained transformer, which means, well, I'll explain that later, but it just generates something, right? It generates text, the next token, we say. But it's also a great reasoning system because it understands the underlying reality or whatever. It figures out from the emerging properties, whatever. And how does it work? Well, I spent some time, because I'm on sabbatical, I like to learn stuff. And I spent some time learning about the transformer architecture because I used to do some image recognition in AI. That's all I did. And then I heard about this stuff. So what it actually does, like how does it work, is that it converts text into stream of tokens. That's like the hello. You write hello. You convert it to tokens. You can see there are two numbers. That sounds weird, right? Because like token, what is a token? So token could be a word. So then it would be a one number. But it's two words here, and it's not five. Like token could as well be a character, right? But what they found that works best is that they have these like subwords. So hello, for example, is a compound of two subwords, basically. And then what it does, it generates another token, and then it decodes back to human readable text instead of using integers, right? So that's what it does. And this is the architecture of it, although this is like the full transformer with an encoder on the left and then decoder on the right. What actually is GPT is this right part only, as far as I understand it. Again, take me with a grain of salt, right? Or whatever I say. How is it trained? So first, well, there's like 4, maybe technically 3 stages, I don't know. But the first stage is you shove a ton of data into it, which is like from the web crawl, all the 3 trillions of words and text that you find on the internet. And then there's like a super fine tuning, which basically means that you actually hire assistants or like human people where they write a question and then an answer. So they are training it to be an assistant, which means because it's just generating text, right? All it does is generating the next token. So you want to train it to generate an answer instead of another question. Because if you give it a question, it would generate another question, right? So you want to train it to be a question-answer sort of thing. Anyway, I have another list of these. This is the process how it's trained, how I think of it. Or I don't know if it's correct, but again. So the pre-training, this is called the GPT, or this is where the llama stands, or the palm, as you know. And then there is this supervised fine-tuning called SFT in short. There's like the vicuna, you may know, and there is another stage where it's the last stage is called RLHF, which I remember the last meetup Petr Hozák was talking about. Reinforcement learning with human feedback, basically, where you again include humans to try to. I also think about the SFT like the lobotomy stage, because these models have a lot of emerging properties when they learn from the text, and then we have to kind of make it politically correct and all that sort of stuff. And you also remove a lot of functionality from there, I believe. So not just me, obviously. But whatever, I call it lobotomia. So in the background, actually, there is no assistant, right? It just completes text. And this is the playground that some of you may know from the GPT, or like OpenAI playground, where you can choose a model that you're going to use, this is the GPT 3.0, and they have some templates. And what you are actually using in the ChatGPT is this template, is the chat. So the template starts like this. Like the playground starts with like, the following is a conversation with the AI assistant. The assistant is helpful, creative, clever, and very friendly. And then you start with the human, and that's your question in that sense. And here are some stop sequences. So whenever it finds one of these words, it will stop generating next text. But it will just follow this template and just generate it, right? So anyway, so what is different from why am I showing you this? Well, I kind of want to show or like explain that it's different from our brain, right? It just generates the next token. Whereas let's imagine we're writing a blog post, right? What are we doing as humans? We're taking these steps where I try to categorize each step into like, it's basically, have you heard of, how many of you have heard about Auto GPT? So that's basically, I believe it's standing on this kind of, what would you call it, template, where you tell the GPT, use these, by the way, this is written by GPT, but you tell it like use these type of categories whenever you're doing something, but it's still generating text. So even though it's written, I ask it to demonstrate how we humans work. So if I want to write a blog post, I will do these steps in general, and you can see I only write at some point when I did some work, right? And I can go back, delete, modify the sentence, whatever. How does GPT do it? It could do research because it has a plugin now, but it'll just write text, right? And that's the difference. And why am I saying this? Why am I showing you this? Well, even though it just completes text, it's very, very, very smart. And this is from Ilya Sutskever, one of the quotes, where he says that in order to generate the proper next token, you have to understand the underlying reality. And I have another example here where GPT-4 is shown an image, and you ask it, what's weird about this image? And it actually understands that ironing a clothes on the back of a taxi cab isn't really common, but whatever. Like usually you train the machine learning on a task, right? And it learns that task. For example, recognition of images or like numbers or a fraud detection, all sorts of stuff. But you never use like language to it. I mean, we all know now that it all operates on numbers, which is strange. But this seems to understand images as well. How come? I don't know. Anyway, that gets me to how to get the most out of it. So, knowing these things. Well, sometimes you want the GPT to, I don't know, figure something complex, or maybe you want some reasoning. I said that it's like a reasoning system, and especially if you want that functionality from the model or the thing, you kind of have to. Well, I'll start with this. Like, it knows when it gets wrong, right? For example, I ask it like, write a letter to a friend where each word starts with B. Made a mistake there, but whatever. Think carefully about the assignment, right? And then it writes a letter, and then it makes mistake somewhere about here. And there's one more. I don't know where it is. But there's a mistake. So I ask it like, did you meet the assignment fully? And it's like, I apologize, So it knows when it fucks up. Whatever, sorry. Yeah. So, and this is from actually this is from the talk of State of GPT. This is from a paper about GPT-4, where they were testing another machine learning or like another language model on top of language model that could come up with the best prompts. So what they found out is like it's really handy when you write your like whatever you want from it. You can just write, you are the leading expert on this topic, and then ask for the real thing you want. And it'll give you a better answer than if you just ask it from straight away. And this is one of the lines they used for reasoning. So again, like just ask for what you want. And yeah, this slide is not going to load, is it? It's probably because there's nothing on it. But I just said it. And that gets me to AI news because I want to leave this. Up to you. But yeah, you get the point. It's a different architecture of a brain, and you have to, I think, the main point from there is just to approach it differently. Like prompt engineering is kind of coming up with compensation from this different architecture or whatever. And then, well, now I'm moving on to the news. Nowadays we have AI assistants, composers now. At MIT, they are trying to, one of their exercises in AI is like to write an AI that will finish a song, which sounds quite cool. Now there's people creating therapists, which I'm a big fan of. I mean, who needs a shoulder to cry on when you have a server, right? And that gets me to plugins. Like there's been I don't know, anyone using plugins yet? 2 people, 3 people. Okay, cool. I'll just show it. This is I asked today the ChatGPT if he can come up with exercise for I don't know if you can see it. Sadly I can't make it bigger. But you're a leading expert at teaching, right? And then I write what I want. I don't know why it's so slow. Write a math problem for a 7-year-old. Oh, it's taking ages. And then use Wolfram Alpha plugin to find a solution to it, and then come back and explain it step by step. That's what I am asking to do. But like, I actually wanted to show you, like, use another plugin called HeyGen that will generate a video and where is like a whatever charming lady explaining you the topic or whatever. It's super cool, but the plugin wasn't working today, and it was working back then, but whatever. And then I ask it for, oops, sorry. What happened? Like what it can do is even like it's really great, the teacher. That's what I'm trying to show you. It's like I actually use it to teach me stuff about AI, which is ridiculous. But it can generate obviously math problems for 15-year-old and then use the Wolfram Alpha and then come back with the result. I'll show you another one. Well, what is going on? So there is a new model for those who wants to play with it locally or so forth. There's a new model. Like so far, the Llama was the best, I believe. And now that we have Falcon 40B called, there's like 7B4 that you can run it for on local machine and stuff. But what's interesting is that it only requires like 20% of the compute that GPT 3.5 requires, and so on. So that's really interesting to look at if you are a fan of this. So there's like two stories I got to, like two stories how I got to programming, and one of them is really scientific and cool, and the other one is true. So the true one is that I ventured into programming via Photoshop, right? I used to play with Photoshop, and then I started doing web designs and stuff, and I wanted to actually codify it somehow. So, and Photoshop just recently got this super cool feature called generative fill. So I'll show you how that works. It's not working. I can't make it bigger, sorry. But like I'm highlighting my head and I'm just asking it to generate a hat, whatever. And then I'm not happy with it, so I'm like writing it to generate a Mohican shaved head, Mohican hair, pulled back, ponytail, whatever. Give me new hair straight away, done. It always gives you more variants, so you can even iterate on it. Then I ask it to generate earring for so it makes me hipster, basically. So you can just play with it because I like to take pictures of people, and every now and then I could just put a tattoo on me, or well, these are some useful tools you can use. This is not really. Now I just like highlighted all my face and I said, beautify. It's quite reasonable, but yeah, I decided to go back with my own face. This is how you can make yourself hipster. But here's another picture of me, like 15-year-old skateboarding, and I'm like, yeah, this photo is cut. So I'm just gonna extend it and ask the generative fill to fill the rest of the image. And this is where it gets really interesting, because most of the time when I speak to designers, they complain about pictures not being, full or whatnot. So this is just generated this, and you can't tell the difference, obviously. My back is quite straight, right? I like that. Another one, again, picture of my drone. Somewhere, I'm just like highlighting the white area, asking you to fill the rest of the image. So this is really useful tool if you're a fan of Photoshop. And then I experimented some lightning, whatever. Let's not. Here's another one. I recently took this picture of there was like F-22 in Čáslav. And there was we're supposed to compete who takes the better picture of this thing. And you can see that it's very noisy image, but I'm asking Lightroom to denoise that image using AI. And that's another useful tool that you can use for your photos that you can't recover. Obviously, they were taken in the dark or whatever. So this is another one that I'm using quite often. Next one. It's not working. What am I doing? Okay. And this is just, I just came across this yesterday.
A long, long time ago at Lady Winterbottom's lovely tea party, which is
in the smoking ruins and ashes of New York City.
A fierce woman ain't playing no games and is out to kick some butts.
Against the unimaginable, brutal, merciless, and scary
lobby boy of the delightful Grand Budapest Hotel.
And everything seems doomed and lost until...
Yeah.
A long, long time ago at Lady
You get the idea. What I find, another one, sometimes I shoot videos of whatever, kids mostly, with my brother and whatever. We went to a holiday and I make a video of it. And then sometimes you get that dialogue and you want to put some subtitles. And DaVinci again comes up with super cool tool where I use the video that I just showed you and I ask it to generate subtitles for it. So another useful tool that you might find useful again. But you just give it a video, whatever you create your timeline, ask for generating the subtitles. It takes, I don't know, a minute, and it creates, all that stuff. So you can style it, whatever. So it just saves time so much. What else do we have? Again, it's not. So this is another thing. Because I'm on sabbatical, right? I'm attending AI hackathons and whatever. There was one AI hackathon in Prague, and we actually landed like second place, where we came up with. Do you know ulékaře? You usually ask for help there, whatever. It's called telemedicine, and there's now doctor visit AI in somewhere in the US, where they figured we can solve all of these issues, with GPT. Well, not all of it, obviously, but like most of the stuff can be telemedicine. And again, this is just you can imagine it's something like this. Like it says, like, describe in one sentence what are your troubles, and you that's a hidden joke, but but then. It will help you to describe the problem better, more descriptive for the doctor. So because we found there are two issues, but the patients don't know how to describe their issues properly. So it helps you with that, and then you say send. In this case, you are the last one who sends so you have the ability to change it if you want. And now we are on the other side with the doctor, and it will generate the answer or like the tip, whatever you call it, for the doctor, and he is again the last one who actually has to agree this is correct, or he can change it. But the point is, it saves time on both sides, because now they don't have to exchange 3 messages because the patient actually described the problem well, and and so on. So it actually accumulates, and this is what they have in. There was the doctor visit. There's another AI chef. This may sound silly. This may seem silly, but what it's actually doing, what they are working on, like they're using recipes and how to cook meals from YouTube videos. But what they are actually learning is how to transfer behavior from humans to machines. And that's the strong part, because then the machines can learn from YouTube videos only. And that's what I find interesting. But hey, whatever. I've got one more thing, and then I'll quit. So we have this Mojo language. Anyone coding in Python? None. Bad audience. No, no, sorry. Look, this is a language, new one, that actually has a suffix, not .py, but .inflame, whatever. I don't know. That it seems like a joke, but I guess they'll change it. but they are just, you know, bragging on how they can use Unicode as whatever. But this is a superset of Python, so you can think of it as TypeScript versus JavaScript. And it has 30 times 1,000 speed up from Python. Like, how do they do that? They actually, like, for those that are interested in this, I'm happy to talk about this after. But they use lots of ideas from Rust and C, so that's quite cool. They have a new approach to it even, so it keeps like simple to write. But anyhow, there are some other things. For example, OpenAI Studio got hacked. Nobody knows. You know, this one is interesting. I don't know if you use if you invest in stocks. There's now OpenAI that sorry, OpenAI. There's like an AI that's built on these transformers, and you can invest quite good. I haven't tested it, but there's articles. I won't give it my money. And yeah, like yesterday, I actually managed to work out my GPU at home that I have. I used to play games, but and now I made it to train the Nano GPT, which is super interesting. If you are into this, there is a YouTube channel by Andrew Karpathy, and that's basically where I bounce my well, it's mostly his ideas, right? But I just always go there if I'm doubting anything. So that's super cool. And like from this garbage, I made it in 30 minutes to generate some English words actually. So I was quite happy. But that's it. This is a conclusion by GPT. Obviously, it's friendly. So it just wants us to cooperate. So we can let it out of the box, right, as soon as possible. And that's it from me. So thank you.
Okay, that was a ride as usual with Roman. So questions, please.
Yeah, I told you they're not funny.
I saw minimum two that were really funny. Okay, you don't have questions. I have one. How to get the plugins into ChatGPT?
Oh, right.
Is paid version or of course?
That's a good question. You have to request. You have to go to their site and request.
And wait.
There is like a special page for, and then wait. Yeah,
Okay.
and then they won't tell you when it's approved. Yeah, I found out just by looking at the settings of my profile.
Cool.
You have to enable it. Yeah. Maybe you already have it. No.
No, I haven't tried, so okay. I will do it tomorrow. So,
my question is when the ChatGPT will stop to lie, because I was trying to ask some questions like I had a story, you know, who is the author of the book of this story, and it just generated some words and it doesn't exist,
they call it
you know?
hallucination, right? And some of the fine tuning that I mentioned. There is another. Apparently, there's. This recipe is like emerging, still changing, but apparently there is another fifth step where they teach it to not hallucinate. And I think that they've actually put it into production, or you know, some version of it, because like nowadays when you ask the GPT for something, it seems like it just asks back for more details. Like it gives you 3 questions to answer. And then you answer those questions, and it surprised me like 2 days ago. So,
Can I have a second one? What's the best use case for ChatGPT right now? Because
oh my God, I have no idea. I mean, I would be rich.
yeah, I would say like technical support would be perfect match, but when it's lying, it's hard to say.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I see big opportunities in stuff like that I mentioned, like the doctor visit, where you just help people to save time. Because like, you know, when it's about health, you can't just give them advice automatically and hope for the best. That's ridiculous.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you had any luck running any of the models locally? Like you showed Nano GPT. Is that the only luck you had with it, or?
No, yeah, well, Nano GPT is just like a Python version of a small model. What I was showing you, which is this one, is like 10 million parameters, and I have like quite beefy GPU at home, so I can't imagine doing this without GPU, but whatever. There is like a Llama CPP, which uses quantization, which is something where they use, instead of using float 32, they use float that takes 4 bytes or 8 bytes or 16 bytes. And there's like the new Max M2, they actually have support for this. So soon, I believe we will be able to train some sort of powerful models on our local machines, but we'll have to wait for a bit, yeah.
So I don't know how long it's been since ChatGPT was released, a few months, right? How far do you think we are in terms of our, let's say, skill or capacity of being able to use it to the full of its potential? And is it possible to use it to the full of its potential? Do we have time for it? Or will something else come after? Or
Well,
If you're on sabbatical, you have time for it.
nice one. But I believe that we don't have to, well, if I understand correctly, you want to use it to full potential. So now we have these tricks that I mentioned, but we won't need them soon, I believe, because like GPT-5 will just know, for example, and it will just get smarter. It'll just take also a longer to train. So maybe they are already training it because it takes, GPT-4 took, we don't know how much GPT-4 took to train, but we have assumptions that is like 10 times bigger than GPT 3.05. And that one took, I believe, a month and something, like month minimum, on 1,024 GPUs. So they just either have to double or like, use more GPUs, or like maybe they are already training it. I don't know. But I can see changes while I'm using it, because I use it quite often, because like, as I said, my favorite usage of GPT or like the ChatGPT is that I make it my teacher. So whenever I don't know something, I ask it to do a research and then explain the topic to me or whatever. I find that really useful.
Any more questions?
sorry, I don't want to be annoying, but do you think that basically ChatGPT or AI is able to substitute us, mates, developers in the future? Because this is a very much spoken about topic, and I heard a lot of opinions, so I would like to know yours.
Yeah, I don't know. Mine is very weakly held, but I don't believe that the current technology will do that. Maybe GPT 6, 5, 7, 10, whatever. Then I would say yes. I mean, then it's, for me, the question is then like, what's the purpose of my life? But, you know.
And we all go on sabbatical.
It would be lovely.
Hi, I want to ask you, since you're GPT expert, I'm going for my friend's wedding on the weekend, and I want to write like a wish. How would you ask GPT to make a really cool wish, like a card, and in Czech?
Yeah.
Do you use it in Czech?
I would do it. I would do it differently. I would like what we learned about this project, which was. Can you just do it? Should we just do it? Yeah, we should just do it.
Live coding.
But like, well, on this project, we learned that it's working better in English. So what we did is like we actually created this AI pipeline, where you use one AI to generate the text, and then you use the other one to translate it. There's a really good one called DeepML or DeepL. DeepL, yeah. And so we you just create this pipeline and that's it. But I would, I don't wanna show you the history of me talking to GPT. So let's leave that. But I would ask like, you know, I would use all the techniques that I already know. So I would be like, you're the expert in this, in the following topic. Your task is to write a whatever you want. Be unique, funny, friendly, and I don't know, concise. I don't know, whatever you want. But you just tell it what you want, but use all the what do you call it, adjectives, how you want the outcome to be.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Okay. So thank you, Roman.
Thank you
so
very much. Thank you very much.
Thanks.